What is up, everybody? My name is Hyken and this is the Xtrfy MZ1.
Fighting. Let's go. Oh my god! Oh my god! Dude!
So this mouse is the result of a collaboration between Rocket Jump Ninja and Xtrfy. Rocket Jump Ninja's first name is Zai, hence the name Zai's Rail. Basically, this guy has just reviewed hundreds of mice here on YouTube. If you don't know about him, then I'm not sure how you ended up on my channel. So go check out his videos, they're awesome. All mouse reviews, he's been doing it like forever and is definitely one of the most highly regarded voices in the mouse review community. So it's really cool to see that he got a chance to design his own mouse. When I saw that this was going to be coming out, I knew that I had to try it out, and I could say that the shape does not disappoint. In the box, you get the mouse, an extra set of PTFE feet, an Xtrfy sticker, an instruction manual, and a thank you letter from Zai. The mouse retails for $80. You can get your hands on it off of Amazon or through Xtrfy's website, whichever one you prefer. There is only one color option for this mouse, and it's this kind of transparent gray color. I like it. It sort of reminds me of those old school like GameCube or Xbox controllers that would have like the transparent plastic. You could see like the circuit board and stuff on the inside. I always thought that was cool. It's kind of cool to see it on a mouse now. The mouse weighs 56 grams, which is actually a really impressive weight. I love it. It feels great in your hand. Takes no effort at all to move this thing. Now, the main appeal of this mouse for me was that shape. It's designed with fingertip and claw grip in mind, which are the two grips that I kind of fluctuate between or use a hybrid of the two, kind of depending on the mouse. Really, the only mouse that I can think of off the top of my head that really comes close to this is something like the Cooler Master MM710. The way that the front is really low, close to the buttons, and goes up to a higher slope in the back. It is technically possible to palm grip this mouse, but I really wouldn't recommend it. My hands are really like the biggest that you should go. It's about 7 inches from the tip of my middle finger all the way down to the end of my palm here. So if you're any bigger than that, I would say stay away from this mouse if you're planning on palm gripping. If you're a fingertip gripper or a claw gripper, really any hand size is gonna feel great with this mouse. I'll go ahead and put the measurements for this mouse up on the screen for you right now. Feel free to pause this if you'd like a little bit more time. This is a pretty small mouse, which generally seems to be the preference for a lot of fingertip grippers and claw grippers, myself included. Now, with that fingertip grip, you're able to have a lot of room between the end of the mouse and the heel of your palm, which means that you have a ton of room for either recoil control or if you're using a really high sensitivity, just straight up aiming. Now, if you're a claw gripper, you probably like to have the mouse right up against your palm, and that is a really great fit for me, for a harsher claw grip anyways. Relaxed claw, maybe not so much, at least if you want to have the back of the mouse up against your palm, but I found that my grip kind of gravitated towards like a relaxed fingertip grip almost. It felt like it was a relaxed claw, however, I just moved the mouse forward and kept the back of the mouse away from my palm because I wanted to have some room for recoil adjustment. I play a lot of Apex Legends, so having recoil control there just made a lot of sense. My aim with this mouse was honestly fantastic. I don't think I've aimed as good with a mouse before, even the Viper Mini, which was my main for gaming up until this point. Sensor performance here is unfortunately not the perfect experience that I think it really should be. I would occasionally get a split second or two where my mouse would just stop sending the signal to the computer and it would just be still for just a split second or two. But depending on when that split second is, like the clip I'm playing for you right now, it could get you into a lot of trouble in game. If you'll notice, right after I jump off of those boxes and hit the ground, I aim down sights, and there's just an instant where my mouse doesn't really move. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it ended up getting me in trouble here. I got knocked and my team lost the fight because of this. When the mouse works, which is like 95% of the time, this Pixart 3389 sensor really does a great job. Like, I have been hitting crazy shots. I have been frying fools like French fries with the R99. but that just 5% of the time where this mouse just gives out can be very, very detrimental. I really don't know if this is just a defective cable, if it's a defective sensor, a defective batch of mice. I'm really not sure what the problem is here, but I mean, the important part is that we're having this problem, and I don't think it's a software solution. I downloaded the firmware update, so it shouldn't be that. I really don't know what's going on here, but I do know that I am not getting the perfect sensor performance that I would really expect from this sensor. And look, I mean, the mouse working 95% of the time might not sound too bad, but it really depends on when that 5% is. And I honestly think that if you're paying $80 for a mouse like this one, you should be getting a sensor that works 100% of the time. There's really not much of an excuse for this. One of the coolest parts of this mouse for me, and quite frankly, this is a very innovative feature. I love this, and I would love to see some other companies adopt something like this as well. But that's that you can control literally almost everything about this mouse from the mouse itself. There is no software here. Instead, you get a switch on the bottom that lets you control things like the liftoff distance, the polling rate. You just change the switch over to that item that you would like, hit the button on the top, or hit a different key combination on the mouse itself. So you might hold down the middle button plus one or two of the left and right mouse buttons, something like that, and it would change a setting on the mouse. So there is no software for you to fumble around with and have technical difficulties with. You just do it all on the mouse. There's also a dedicated DPI button on the bottom of the mouse. You just press it, cycle through 8 different DPI values. There's no way to change them because there isn't software, but hopefully the DPI you like using is on there. Now, unfortunately, one of the drawbacks of not having software for this mouse means that there is no custom button mapping. You can't do that on just the mouse, unfortunately. No macros, nothing like that. You'd have to use a third-party software if you wanted to do that. I personally, I'm not missing the macros at all. I never used them, but I am missing the custom button mapping. I really like using the middle mouse button as a mute in Discord. I could just make F11 that, but F11 already has other functions, so I didn't really want to mess with that. It would be kind of nice to see a software come out for this mouse in the future, just so that we can do that, but really you can do everything else, so I don't mind too much. Build quality on this mouse was good. Not great, but good. It definitely creaks depending on where you press it and how hard you press it, but as long as you're not trying to squeeze the juice out of this thing like an orange, you should be just fine. There was a little bit of bend and give, but not really in any spots that I would actually be squeezing while I'm gaming. It was mostly on the bottom. All that considered though, I really wouldn't say that there are any red flags here in the build quality department. The switches here are really good. These are Kale GM 8.0s, and they're my first time using them. I'm a big fan of them so far. I like these a lot more than I like Omron switches that you'll see in a lot of other mice. The click and tactility of this switch just feels better than the Omron ones do. Also, there is almost zero pre-travel in these left and right mouse buttons. These are really, really good in the pre-travel department. There's just a little bit, but it's barely any. I don't think that I've used a mouse that has pre-travel as good as this. There's a little bit of post-travel here, a little more than I would like to see, and the side buttons, which use Huano switches, these do have a little bit of pre and post travel, but the click and tactility part does feel pretty nice in the side buttons too. I don't love the scroll wheel here. It's a little bit too far forward position for me. It's also got kind of just a weird crunchy noise to it. It's quiet, but the noise is still kind of weird. I'm really not a fan of it. I'll play it for you in a second here. It's also a little bit too loose for my personal liking. All right, here's that sound test for everything on the mouse. The cable here is really pretty good. I like it. I have a lot of cable out because I use a pretty low sensitivity, and I feel almost no cable drag. It also comes out of the mouse at an upward angle, which is really good. That helps with the drag. So, should you get this mouse? Well, I really like the shape personally. I don't think that it's for everybody, but I think if you're a fingertip gripper especially, you're gonna like this shape. I think if you're a claw gripper, you might like this shape. It could go either way. But as good as the shape is, a mouse needs a good sensor in order to get recommended by me. And this sensor only works 95% of the time. There's no way that I'm gonna recommend you go out and spend $80 on a mouse where the sensor just doesn't work 5% of the time. All right, I'm not gonna fully recommend this mouse. If you wanna get it, you know what you're getting into with the sensor, and you can potentially get a refund or a return, just know that going in. But I can't give this a green light with these sensor issues. I just can't. If they come out and say, all right, the sensor's good, we fixed the sensor, then yes, by all means, go out, check out this mouse. I think it's a really good option. I wish that it was maybe $10 cheaper, but price is what it is. Really, my biggest complaints then, once they fix the sensor, is the scroll wheel, positioning, and just the feeling of it in general, and the little bit of pre and post travel that we got on the side buttons. But other than that, this is a rock solid mouse if the sensor worked. Alright everybody, that's going to go ahead and do it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have not already, smash the like button and the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it if you could do those. All my other social medias are down in the description below, as is an affiliate link to this mouse if you decide that it's worth the risk for you. And if you wanted to help out the channel a little bit, I would really appreciate it. Those affiliate links send a small commission my way at no extra charge to you. Thank you very much for your support. Alright everybody, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace!
What are you doing? Sit down, dude.